We are a family-owned exterior company that's been in the Twin Cities metro here for almost 80 years. So we service the entire state of Minnesota. We're located up in Osseo, Minnesota. Some of the things that make us unique are that A, we've been around for so long, so we have been around for 80 years. B, we have a full-time service department. So when you guys do your walkthroughs, if you run into any exterior items that you find, we actually have a full-time service department dedicated to just small repairs. So you can send us your punch lists, and we can send service guys out, and they can make any repairs needed. The other big thing with us is that we own a distribution center. So our sister company is North Country Distribution, which is a warehousing company. And that makes us unique and gives us some advantages in the market in that we actually are buying the products direct from the manufacturer. So we're kind of cutting out the middleman. We've got a warehouse full of products that gives us a wide variety of products to choose from. It helps us when we're doing services because we can find the products that are on your building, source it, and get the best match possible. And it also helps us with large jobs. So if you ever have any large jobs, like roofing, siding, window replacement jobs, we are buying direct from the manufacturers, so we can get very competitive with our pricing. So that's a little bit about who we are. So spring walkthroughs. Mark kind of touched on this already with the pop-up survey. There's several different ways to set up a spring walkthrough. Some people go out there with their management company. Some people go out there just with the board only, and others will bring a contractor along. I'm going to say I am a big proponent for everybody to bring a contractor along when they do their spring walkthrough. Whether you're going with the contractor alone or contractor with your management company, there are a lot of benefits for having a contractor on site when you're doing your walkthrough. First off, it eliminates a lot of confusion. So we all have our strengths. No offense to any property managers in the room if there are any. But what we've found after a lot of walkthroughs or a lot of services come in from management companies, managers don't always know exactly who to send the service to. So we get a lot of service requests from management companies that don't really involve services that we can fix. And so what happens is we end up sending it back to the management company, and then those services kind of bounce around, which creates long lead times in getting the things fixed, and then the residents get upset. So it just eliminates a lot of confusion if you have a contractor out there that they can help direct you into who you should be sending those repair requests to. With that, reduces the repair time. So the faster you can get the correct information out to the service provider, the faster you can get the repairs made. And then with the contractors, I mean, there's a lot of different areas you look at with your spring walkthroughs. You got your landscaping, your driveways, sidewalks, concrete, the exterior building components, which is what we would handle, the siding, windows, roofing, and then irrigation is a big one as well. So some of the big keys to success when you're doing your spring walkthroughs, accurate notes. So it is very critical as you're doing your walkthroughs to make sure that you are keeping accurate notes, identifying where the issue is that you're, first identifying the issue, second, identifying where it is on the property. So when you're sending these requests out to the vendors, they know where to look. Big thing, accurate notes. We do have some templates that we have created that we use when we're doing walkthroughs. We gave those to Mark, and I believe he uploaded them to the website. So you can go to the website and download some free templates to use on your walkthroughs as well. The other big thing is photos. Photos are very helpful with walkthroughs. Just making sure that you're identifying the location, taking a kind of a close-up photo of the issue, and then maybe a photo back a little bit so we can see where it is on the property. This really helps eliminate a lot of confusion when you're sending out your requests. We use some different apps that help us kind of keep the photos organized, and we'll kind of go through some of those apps at the end here. And then as you're doing your walkthrough, just ensuring the repair request gets sent to the proper vendor. So when I do a walkthrough, as I'm writing down the item, I'm kind of writing down the vendor that item goes with. So at the end, we can kind of sort through those checklist items and break it out by vendor. So then you can send your RFPs or your requests for proposals out to the different vendors to get those things fixed. So from an exterior perspective, here's a few of the things that we're looking for when we are doing our walkthroughs. So siding. As you're walking around looking at your siding, obviously a lot of, very common things we find in the spring. Bottom left here, we've got lawn care damage to the siding, lawn care, snow care. A lot of people have cracked siding from shoveling or lawnmowers spitting rocks at the buildings. Loose siding, fascia soffit, kick-out flashings. Kick-out flashings are a key component to your exterior siding, and it's something you should look for when you're doing your walkthrough to make sure that you have kick-out flashing. That's a picture of a kick-out flashing there on the top, and literally it's just a piece of metal that directs water away from the house if a roof terminates in the middle of a exterior wall. So this is now code. So if you've had siding replacement done or roofing replacements done in the past 15 plus years, you should have kick-out flashing there because it is required. If your building is older and you do not have it, highly recommend identifying areas that you don't have it and getting those put in, just because when we are doing siding replacements, this is a very common spot where we find rot. So if you don't have that flashing, we usually find rot right below that roof line. Caulking is a big thing to look at. A lot of siding is low maintenance, but the caulking will deteriorate. So as you're walking around, just kind of look at the different caulking joints, making sure that your caulking is still pliable, it's not cracked, and identify areas that may need to get resealed. Your cleaning or hard water staining, like I said, siding is low maintenance, but it's not maintenance free. So a lot of people have vinyl siding or steel siding. Those products do need to get cleaned, because if you don't clean your siding, you will start getting dust or organic material built up on the wood grains of the siding. And then once you have that organic material on the siding, now you can start getting mold or some kind of other staining that can happen that can ruin the siding. So highly recommend power washing your siding. I know we've got power washers in the back there. Definitely something that you should keep up on, and just wash your siding periodically to make sure you prolong the life of that product. Wood rot is another big one. Woodpeckers, the animal insect damage. We love woodpeckers as siders. They give us a lot of business, so something to look out for. Painting, and then your venting. So plug soffit vent. So as you're walking around, this is a picture of your soffit vent, which is your overhang. Just make sure that your vents are clear. Sometimes you can see insulation kind of sticking through it. That may mean that the pieces holding the insulation back have fallen out, and so you want to make sure that those vents are clear. The other thing would be painting. A lot of people will have wood siding and they paint the soffits, and the painters will paint right over those vents. And so you want to make sure those are clear, so then your roof and your attic space are being vented properly. Some of the things to look at for windows. Windows are a little tricky because I know a lot of HOAs, those are homeowner responsibility, but still, as you're walking around, there are some things that you can identify to at least let homeowners know or guide them through how to get things fixed. Seal failures. Seal failures are a big one. That's when your window gets fogged up. That means that the gas has leaked out of the window and moisture got in between those panes. Seal failures actually can get repaired. So a lot of times, seal failures, people will call up a window company to come out and make the repair. But a window company like us, we're going to come out there and just try to sell you a new window. what you can do is actually call a glass company. A glass company can come out and they can actually buy a new glass pack and reglaze the window, so you don't necessarily have to replace the window unless there's damage to the window itself. So we get a lot of calls on seal failures, and a lot of times we end up just referring them to a glass company. So you can bypass us and go right to a glass company for something like that. Low E coatings, that would be something here on the bottom where you can kind of see the low E coatings are delaminating from the glass. You get kind of that rainbow effect. That's another common thing that we see. That also can be repaired. If you get a glass company out, you can just reglaze the window. But I should say not all windows can get reglazed. So sometimes you do need to replace the window, but a lot of times you can repair it. The other thing with windows and the low E coatings, a lot of times when you're walking around, and especially if you have vinyl siding, you'll notice sometimes you'll see a stripe of siding that looks like it's melted. What is happening there is you're getting some kind of window glare off of a neighboring low E, a neighboring window. So the windows now have such good low E coatings that it's directing the sunlight, reflecting it off the window and away from the building. But when you have townhomes that are built close together, so a lot of times those windows can shoot the rays right to a neighbor's building and melt the siding. So we see this a lot. People call us and they want us to come out and fix the siding, which we gladly can fix. However, it's just going to melt again. So some of the things that we recommend when we see this, first identifying the window that it's coming from. Some of the things people do is they'll plant bushes. So using some sort of trees or bushes to block the light would be one way. Another thing that you could do is there are some aftermarket films that you can add to the window that will help reduce that glare and help keep the siding from melting. The problem is a lot of times it's coming from a neighbor's window. So you have to somehow convince the neighbor that they have to tint their window so it doesn't melt your siding. Roofing is a tough one because I suspect not all of you are jumping up on roofs as you're doing your walkthroughs, but there are some things that you can see on the ground as you walk around. Some of the things that we look for when we're doing our walks would be your pipe jack boots, which are pictures here in the top right and left. These are your plumbing vent stacks, so they vent the plumbing system of your building. A lot of times those boots are rubber, and that rubber can deteriorate, and that's where we see leaks. So when we get a lot of leak calls in the spring, a lot of them can be pointed to these boots because they're deteriorating and water's coming in, so we can repair those. Another thing would be the lead jacks, which are the frost-free pipe jack boots, and those are actually a two-piece boot, and that top piece will sometimes come loose from the pipe. And so when I'm standing on the roof, I can look right down into your attic, and those need to get repositioned and retightened to the pipe. So when we get calls for leaks in the spring, the first thing we always ask is it in a bathroom? And chances are it is, because bathrooms seem to be the one spot that leaks show up because of these issues. Bath fans or dryer vents, those are another big thing. That's a picture here in the bottom left. Unfortunately, a lot of townhomes, the dryer vents are vented out through the roof when really they should be vented out through the siding. But when you're walking around, if you're looking up at the roof and you see a vent and you see a bunch of lint coming out of it, very good sign that vent is plugged. So just keep an eye out, as you're looking at the roofs, looking for plugged dryer vents, because this is a big fire hazard. It also traps moisture because you have all that humid air that's trying to escape, and now it's stuck in the pipe. So big thing, making sure those vents are clear. The other big thing we see are HVAC caps. So this picture in the bottom right, this is actually a furnace vent. So your furnace is vented out through the roof. It's a big, usually like a 6-inch or 8-inch pipe coming out with a cap on the top of it. What happens is those caps will rust out, or the brackets will rust out, and then the wind will blow them off. So we see this very often, that that the flues or the furnace vents are missing their caps. Now, a lot of people will call a roofer to come out and put that on. Unfortunately, as a roofer, we're not a licensed HVAC company. So you need to actually call a furnace company to come out and put that cap back on. And you need to find a furnace company that actually will have a furnace guy that will climb on a roof. So those aren't easy to find, but unfortunately that's just because of licensing and codes, that's what you have to do. So, and then lastly, you've got your missing shingles and or ice dam or snow raking. So we see a lot of people that have ice dams or residents that will rake snow, and a lot of times they'll end up damaging the shingles. So just kind of watching out for chips of shingles or chunks of shingles on the ground, and then that's kind of a telltale sign that something happened up on the roof. And then something that we provide, drone inspections. So drones are they're very helpful for HOAs to get a scan of your roof and figure out what's going on after the winter. And because not all of you are jumping up on roofs, roofs often get neglected because you're not actually getting a good view or a good picture of what's happening because you're looking at it from the ground. So we offer free drone inspections. And these drone inspections create these drone reports, which will identify anything up to 1/8 of an inch, any kind of an issue on the roof, and it shows up in a nice report, and you can use this to send to vendors, send to us, and we can come out and make repairs. So these reports are free. So what happens is we would come out there, we have our drones, they usually take about 2 to 3 hours to fly an association. We fly the association, each building, you get a couple hundred pictures taken of each building at different angles. These pictures then get uploaded to our cloud service, and it's a software program that actually analyzes the pictures and can identify any issues that it finds, and then it consolidates it into a nice report that we can then share with you. So this is a free service we provide. We provide it for free just because we just want to get to know you. We want to introduce ourselves to you and hopefully earn your trust going forward for future business. So something I highly recommend utilizing in the spring, getting these reports done. The other nice thing with these is even if you don't have damage, you can create a baseline report. So baseline reports is just kind of a status report of the roof, and you can get one done every couple of years just to see how the roof is aging. The other thing is it helps identify storm damage. So let's say you had a roof report done this spring and the roof comes back, everything's great, really nothing identified, damage, all looks fine. And then you have a storm come through. Now you can have us back out, we can fly the roof again, and maybe it shows up nothing happened, or it can show up like, oh, look at all these bruises that now are showing up. Now you can take those reports to your insurance company, to your insurance broker, and say, hey, this is what it looked like 2 months ago, this is what it looks like now, and it really helps that claim process move a lot smoother if you have the evidence to back it up. So drone reports are very helpful. Gutters. Gutters are one of the kind of neglected parts of buildings. They're one of the things, like I just built a house, first thing I did is put on gutters. Gutters are key to saving the foundation of your buildings. It helps with siding, it helps with rot, it helps with a lot of things. So a lot of associations don't put them on because they cost money, but at the end of the day, they're one of those things that can save a lot of money down the road. So when you're looking at gutters in the spring, a lot of things that we see are crust extensions or missing extensions. So what you see here, picture on the right, you see a downspout coming down and the elbow and the extension is missing. So now this is a huge problem because now you've just collected all the rainwater from a portion of your roof, you directed it to one area, and it's dumping right at the foundation. So now it's actually having the reverse effect, and it's causing a big issue. So just making sure that your elbows and your extensions are present, making sure that they're not crushed, they're not stepped on, so the water is getting out, and then making sure that the extensions are the proper length. So as you're walking around, you're kind of looking at the extension, and then you're looking at the ground and looking at the slopes. You can see here in the picture in the top right, this house has a gutter, has the downspout extension, but the water's coming out and then it's just pooling right back into the building. So in this case, the extension is not long enough to get the water away from the house, or you would have to come in and cut some of the ground away to make sure that it's sloped, so the water is getting away. So these are big things that we see. A lot of people think just putting the gutter on is enough, but really you need to make sure the water is getting away. Also getting away from foundations. So a lot of people have gutter extensions running down deck posts, and they just shoot out, and then the water comes right back to that deck post footing. So you want to make sure that the water is being directed away from any kind of footing that's supporting a deck to make sure that those stay sound. So lastly, with gutters, clogged gutters or leaking gutters. So a big sign for this would be staining. So as you're walking around looking at the gutters, you can see the picture in the bottom right, the gutter with the stains, water staining, clear sign that this gutter is either clogged or the seals are broken. These can get repaired. You can come out, you can clean the gutters, and then we can come out and reseal the corners to try to help extend the life of that gutter. So those are all things that are fixable. And then storm damage. When you're walking around, just kind of keep note, if you start seeing a lot of soft metal damage, we call it, it's kind of a telltale sign that you may have some storm damage, and you may want to have someone come out and take a look. And this would be soft metal damage are dents in like your downspouts, dents in your fascia. So if you're looking up at your roof line and you see a lot of like little golf ball pop marks or something, or you see dents in your downspouts, that kind of tells us that you've had hail big enough to do some minor damage, and would be something that I would recommend getting a contractor out to take a look at your roof, your siding, your windows, just to make sure bigger issues aren't there from the hail. So resources. So some of the tools that we use when we are doing our walkthroughs, Report and Run. Report and Run is a very handy app that you can find on either both Android and Apple. It's a free app, and what it does is it helps you organize your pictures, and it helps take the pictures and put it into a nice little PDF report, and it's a very easy tool to mark up pictures as well. So Report and Run is a cool tool that we use. For homeowners, you get 10 free reports a month. So if you do download the app, just be cognizant, when you're playing around creating fake reports, that you only get 10 a month. So don't create 10 reports and then go out and try to create an 11th, because it won't let you until the next month. So, but that's really cool. You can take 100 pictures, put it on a report, hit a button, and in 2 seconds it creates a PDF, and you can share it with the rest of the board or contractors or whomever. So that's nice to have. Siding and roofing component diagrams. Mark, I still have to get this to you. This is just kind of a little cheat sheet that you can use. It will be on the HOA site, but it just gives you some identifying, what we call the different components on the exteriors of your building. So when you're making note of service issues, you're calling things the right name as you're sending it to vendors. So, and then the site walkthrough templates, which I've already talked about. And lastly, I just wanted to touch on how many boards have a master book of exterior products, or like a master book that they pass from board to board. I don't see one. Okay. So I would say both a vendor book and a product book. So just keeping track of what products are on your building, what type of roofing you have, what type of siding you have, what are the colors, what type of windows are in the association. Basically just a master. A lot of times I see associations will have like a 3-ring binder, and just anything pertinent to the association, any kind of work that's being done, keeping record of that in one place. Because what happens is a lot of boards, I mean, there's, obviously it's a volunteer job, boards are turning over, and this information gets lost. And so having some sort of master book that gets passed from board to board is really helpful for us vendors, just because it eliminates a lot of confusion when you're trying to make repairs. So something I highly recommend putting together if you don't have one already. So lastly, contact us. We are here to help. So we do free spring walks with boards. So at any point, if you guys want to have us out when you're doing your spring walkthroughs, we would be happy to help. Happy to come out and walk with you and just help kind of show you what we are looking for, how we set up our walkthroughs, and then just introduce ourselves. So utilize us. We're here to help. So thank you.